Hey everybody, welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm Rockin' Robbie Billups, and it's time for the weekly comic book review. That's right, everybody. Thanks for checking out the video. I am Rockin' Robbie Billups. This is the weekly comic book review. It's the show where I read a lot of comic books and I'll let you know what I thought about them. But before we get into that, HeroesCon is approaching us, and I do have a press badge to get into HeroesCon. However, the journey there does need a little bit of support. So if you want to help support the PCP journey to HeroesCon, you can donate directly through my PayPal or through my Cash App. It's all available. But all the support we need is just liking, sharing, subscribing, checking out the videos. We really do appreciate it. But if you want to help us, send us on the road to meet Mike Allred, amongst many others, please feel free to donate at the links in the description below, at my PayPal or at the Cash App. All right. We always start this thing with the pick of the week, and this is no exception. And this week's pick of the week is Imperial issue number 1 from Marvel Comics. Has Marvel been on an upswing here lately? It seems like I'm saying nicer things about Marvel books as the weeks and the months progress. And Imperial is no exception. This was a fantastic book. Now, I would say that out of everything that came out this week, this was the shining spot for me, but there was some pretty solid books. But overall, it was a bit of just kind of an okay week, right? But Imperial is the new Marvel comic from Jonathan Hickman. It's got a whole bunch of artists. It's got Federico Vicentini, Iban Coelho, Federico Blee on the coloring. And even though there's two different artists on this book, it never feels inconsistent. But I know a lot of us have been like, what is this book even about? What's going on in the pages of Jonathan Hickman's Imperial? They have kept us very much in the dark. What this book is, and this is what they told us. It's Jonathan Hickman, like, basically recontextualizing the cosmic Marvel universe. And yeah, to a point, that's what it is. I mean, that is exactly what it is. But we want more details than that. How about this? Star-Lord, Peter Quill. How about Nova, Richard Rider? How about the Skrulls, the Kree? How about every single race of aliens you can think of within the Marvel Galactic Council, like the Shi'ar, the Badoon, even more? They are all a part of this story. And what happens is, so the basic gist is this: Hulk, Amadeus Cho, and She-Hulk show up because, well, there's been a death in the family. There's been a death in the Hulk family that has happened off panel that they reference here. So Hulk, She-Hulk, and Amadeus Cho are trying to figure out what exactly happened. They go to the replacement planet of sorts for Scar, which ties into Planet Hulk and World War Hulk and all of that stuff, right? So Hulk and company get there, they find out something nefarious is going on, and certain galactic leaders are being poisoned by some unknown entity. So this whole first issue is basically putting all the players on board and revealing what the clues lead to the revelation of who's responsible for this. The revelation of who's responsible is insane. It's awesome. I don't buy it 100%, but I am very excited to see the conflict and the story that will unfold because of the revelations in issue number 6, or issue number 1, I should say, of Imperial. Really liked this issue. I thought it was solid. It's Marvel doing Marvel cosmic type stuff that I love. It's Jonathan Hickman, and it's a Jonathan Hickman book that feels very Hickman-y, but at the same time, it doesn't feel very Hickman-y because there's not a bunch of, like, there's no data pages, there's no essays, there's no graphs, there's no charts. It's just good, solid cosmic Marvel storytelling. And even though you have two different artists on this issue, it never feels inconsistent. Everything feels, even though some of it feels abrupt, it doesn't feel unearned. So I really liked this book. I thought it was solid. This is the kind of Marvel comics, the kind of Hickman comics from Marvel that I like to see. Also from Marvel this week, we've got Ultimate Spider-Man Incursion, issue number 1. This is written by Dennis Camp and Cody Ziegler with artwork by Jonas Scharf. So this is the first full-on crossover between the 616 and the new Ultimate Marvel Universe. Miles Morales was visited by the Maker before the Maker's plans came completely into fruition. The Maker basically offered Miles Morales a path to his new world because they were the last survivors of that original Ultimate Universe, right? So it makes sense. But Miles said no. I just know that the Maker is bad news. I'm not going to check it out. So what happens? Miles's 11-month-old sister gets a hold of the business card that the Maker left, which opens a portal into the new Ultimate Universe. So Miles's younger sister, 11 months old, finds her way in the Ultimate Marvel Universe. So Miles chases after her. He comes across Peter Parker and his son, both Spider-Men of sorts. He comes across them. He's hunting it down. Spot makes an appearance here. It was exciting. It was cool, right? Now, I knew that Dennis Camp was doing this book, but he's doing it along with Cody Ziegler. Cody is the writer of the Miles Morales book right now, and I can't tell who wrote what versus what. It works so well. These two styles work flawlessly together. The art is solid enough. It gets the job done, but the story is pretty cool. So if you are plugged into the Ultimate Universe, you definitely want to check this out, especially if you're a fan of Spider-Man, whether it's the Peter Parker or the Miles Morales variety. I would definitely recommend that you check that out. Then we've got Marvel Knights, The World to Come, issue number 1. And that's a David Mack variant cover right there. And we're going to give the cover of the week to David Mack, which comes as no surprise. I'm a huge fan of David Mack's work. I've met the dude in person decades ago at this point. But this was an all right book. It's written by Christopher Priest with artwork by Joe Quesada. It is... So you know how... So I heard this before. I heard that Scott Snyder was told by Grant Morrison, if you have a long extended run on a character, you always want to write your version of the future or the ending of that character. Think of Frank Miller on Batman. He did year 1, but Dark Knight Returns was like his definitive statement about where the world of Batman is going to go. That's what's happening here in the pages of The World to Come, but by Christopher Priest about his Black Panther run. Christopher Priest's Black Panther run is one of my favorite comic book runs of the 90s, of the early 2000s. It's my favorite Black Panther run. It's exceptional. It's amazing. This is a story that takes a few decades to look into the future and see how things shift and change. T'Challa's son is trying to contend for the throne. That's the basic premise here. There's more to it than that. But you know what? It's nice seeing Joe Quesada back doing Marvel work. His work doesn't quite have quite the panache as it did back in the day, but it still gets the job done, and it gets the job done exceedingly well. And Christopher Priest still knows not just these characters, but this world of Wakanda, and it works exceptionally well for me. So The World to Come, Marvel Knights, issue number 1 was pretty cool. Then we've got Ghost Rider versus Galactus, issue number 1, written by J. Michael Straczynski with artwork by Juan Ferreira. So since the artwork is done by Juan Ferreira, you know that I think the artwork is badass. I think the artwork is absolutely top-notch, fantastic, and amazing. The story, not so much on the story. J. Michael Straczynski has been taking a rather tongue-in-cheek, humorous approach to this series of random team-ups that he's been doing, right? And this one, it just, the humor, just like some of the other ones, undercuts how impactful this story should be. It's set in the 70s, which is weird with the continuity and the timeline, but whatever. Thing and Johnny Blaze cross paths. Thing sees Johnny Blaze put somebody under the Pennant stare and turn him into dust. And instead of being outraged, which I think Benjamin J. Grimm, the ever-loving blue-eyed Thing, would be, he instead is like very curious. Bro, can you use this power on Galactus? So Ghost Rider goes to the space to confront Galactus. And it's pretty dumb. Honestly, the story is pretty dumb, and it has a point by the end of it that makes sense, and it's pretty much within the legend that we already have of Galactus within the Marvel universe, but it doesn't treat itself very seriously, even though the artwork does. The artwork is amazing. Juan Ferreira is one of my favorite artists right now, period. He's killing it in the pages of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He's killing it in the pages of Ghost Rider versus Galactus, but the story just doesn't land, nor does it match the tone and the consequence of the concept of the story. Then we got Ultimate Wolverine issue number 6. This is the end of the first arc, and as I'm reading this issue, I'm like, another issue that's all done in the head of Ultimate Wolverine. In this world, Ultimate Wolverine is the ultimate Winter Soldier. There are other X-Men mutant characters that are there in this Maker Soviet Union type thing, whatever's going on there. And I'm reading this issue and I'm like, yet another issue that feels like inconsequential. It's just doing something thematic for the character. But by the end of it, I was like, all right, this is the end of the first trade. Now we're ready to go. So I did like this issue by the time I got to the end of it. We do have a different artist here on this issue, which is, let me find the credits. They always like to bury the credits now in the middle of the book or at the end of the book, probably at the end today. Whenever I look for these damn credits, I can't find them. Alex Lenz is the artist here. I'm not super familiar with Alex Lenz's work, and it's very different from the art that we're typically getting here from Capuccio, for instance, but it does kind of work. It does have an anchor to it. It does have a weight and a gravity to it, and it works. And so I'll just say, throughout the issue, I was rather annoyed. By the time I got to the issue, I was like, all right, now let's go. We've hit a certain point. Now we can go into arc 2. So that being said, I liked the potential of the ending of issue 6 of Ultimate Wolverine. Then we got Amazing Spider-Man issue number 5. Joe Kelly, Pepe Larraz. Pepe Larraz has done 5 incredibly solid issues of Amazing Spider-Man. If Pepe was the artist on this book indefinitely with very little fill-in artists, I would say this is a must-read from Marvel. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying what Joe Kelly is setting up for the new direction of Amazing Spider-Man, but also the way he's recontextualizing and recreating and basically just inventing things from the past that we never had before. It's a big deal issue. I really liked it. Hobgoblin's great. The artwork is great. The story is great. However, next issue, we got John Romita Jr. coming back. And I am a fan of John Romita Jr. Let it be known. Let it be told. I am a fan of John Romita Jr. However, I think his best days are behind him, and following up Pepe Larraz, not the artist I would pick. But I can't base my thoughts on this issue on what I anticipate in the next issue. So I will say this. For 5 issues, Amazing Spider-Man has pretty much been a must-read flagship Marvel book. So that's very exciting. Then we've got Red Hulk issue number 5, the penultimate issue of this miniseries that is a tie-in to One World Under Doom. And it honestly gets the idea of what it means to be a tie-in book. It is firmly connected to the ongoing narrative of One World Under Doom. But at the same time, it's not 100% essential. So the basic premise here has been Deathlock, Machine Man, Red Hulk, and others in captivity by Doctor Doom. And the whole series has been a prison break. Now we get the prison break, and Thaddeus Ross is finally turned back into the Red Hulk. So this issue is mostly the artist Jeff Shaw just going ham with showing the Red Hulk and all of his destructive capabilities. But it reaches a certain point by the end of the book that is so firmly connected into One World Under Doom and sets up the finale for the series that I just got to say, once again, Red Hulk's been a pretty solid book. Marvel's doing some decent stuff. They are. Part of that decent stuff they're doing is Storm. Storm issue number 9 is here right now. Written by Moreira, Aodeli, Lucas Werneck on the artwork. This book has been amazing. I've said that this is one of Marvel's best ongoing books, and it really, really honestly is. So this book has gone truly cosmic. Storm has been embodied by the personification of eternity. Basically, a cosmological Marvel entity that represents the all of everything is now taking residence within Storm. At the same time, you got the U.S. government coming up against Storm. You got Maggot being introduced or reintroduced in these pages. I love that character. I love Storm. I love this book. I think the direction of this book has been fantastic. I cannot tell what's about to happen in this book. I'm very excited for it. In every issue, every issue, I get very excited to see what's going to go on in the pages of Storm, and I am never disappointed. Storm is one of Marvel's best books ongoing right now. Then we've got X-Men issue number 17. It's an all right issue of X-Men. I fell out of Jed McKay's X-Men run, and then I got caught back up. I think after issue 7, I reread 1 through 7, kind of got back into the vibe of it. But now here at issue 17, 10 issues later, I'm a little bored. I'm honestly a little bored. Like, I get what's going on. It seems decent. It seems cool, but it doesn't seem must read. Whether you're a Marvel fan or whether you're an X-Men fan, it's all right. It's nice to have Ryan Stegman back on the artwork in this issue. That's nice to have some artistic consistency in an X-Men book. But X-Men number 17, it was just all right, and kind of made me think, do I already need to do another reread? I know that we're a year and a half in. Actually, we're not a year and a half in. We're not even a year in because these books have been double shipping. So 17 issues in such little time, and I'm finding it hard to hold on to the plot and what's going on. So X-Men number 17 for me was just kind of okay. Let's jump over to DC Comics. We've got Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong, Volume 2. Same creative team as the first one. We got Brian Buccellato on the writing, Christian Duce on the artwork, and it's decent. It follows up the original Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong book exceptionally well. In that series, the Legion of Doom was trying to bring the Titans to the DC universe to put an end to the Justice League. It didn't quite work out for them, but now Amanda Waller has her eyes on the same prize, but utilizing the Suicide Squad, also involving some of those former members of the Legion of Doom. It's exactly what it needs to be. Justice League, Godzilla, King Kong. Nothing life-changing, nothing moving the medium to another position, progressing everything forward. It's just doing what it needs to do, which is being a dumb, big, fun comic. And it continues to do so here in the debut issue of the second volume. Then we've got Absolute Green Lantern issue number 3. Al Ewing has been surprising me with Absolute Green Lantern. It's an interesting take on the character of Green Lantern, the mythology of Green Lantern, and the concept of Green Lantern. Abin Sur shows up to Earth, to Coast City, blocks the city off in a green field of energy. We have famous Lantern characters that we know and love from the regular DC universe coming and going. We got deaths galore already, and we've got interesting switches. We've got, for instance, Hal Jordan as the Black Hand. Joe is the Green Lantern, but I'm liking the story. It's keeping me engaged. It's keeping me intrigued. The only thing is the artwork. The artwork's kind of got this like manga approach to it, but it doesn't feel as bombastic or as kinetic as it needs to be. There are moments where it feels like it has that potential, but the art doesn't fully deliver on its own potential. So I'm still really liking the story, the concept, and the characters, but I'm not necessarily vibing with the artwork here. But then we get Absolute Superman issue number 8. I am totally vibing with the artwork here. We have Rafa Sandoval coming back, and the artwork is big, boisterous, explosive, kinetic when it needs to be. We get a focus in on Smallville here. We get a little bit more elucidation on what the past of this Absolute Superman is. And we get a big focus in on absolute Lois Lane and absolute Jimmy Olsen. They are both operating on separate polarities of the contention against this new absolute Superman. So I'm really liking how different this is, how different the approach is by Jason Aaron. But honestly, I think this book has solidified issue to issue, and I think it's gotten rather intriguing, especially in the last few issues. And I think this book just keeps improving. Issue number 8 is no exception. Then we got Poison Ivy, issue number 34. I've said this before. I'm going to say this again, and I think I'm going to say it again next month. But Poison Ivy is one of DC's best ongoing titles. You're taking a character like Poison Ivy, giving her over to a really solid writer, G. Willow Wilson, co-creator of Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel. Let her take over Poison Ivy. When this book first started, I was going on and on for the first few issues. It's a fine line between hero, anti-hero, and villain. I just don't know if Poison Ivy's the character that can tread that line under the guidance of G. Willow Wilson. Well, I was wrong, because this book has been fantastic. Now the Gotham PD are after her, maybe because Janet from HR led them to her, but she was misled about that. But now you get all these different factions that have been built up in this series coming to Pamela's aid. I really like this book, and the artwork by Takara is phenomenal. It's got a grit, it's got a texture to it that really amplifies the intensity of the story and of the character journey. Poison Ivy continues to soar. Then we got Batgirl issue number 8. Tate Brumbaugh has done a great job here with the Cassandra Cain book. Now, we were talking about this book on Rockin' Robbie Live on Sunday, and I had somebody comment, validly so, because this is the second part of the secret, not so secret origin of Lady Shiva, right? So that's what's going on here in the pages of Batgirl. And this person said, a Batgirl book should be about Batgirl and not Lady Shiva. Well, the problem is, Lady Shiva is Batgirl's mother, and she's got a lot of unexplored emotions about her familial history, right? So Lady Shiva was heavily involved in Arc 1, and now here in Arc 2, she has been left the journal of Lady Shiva, told to Cassandra by her mother to tell her her story, to help her have a little bit of context about who she is, where she comes from, and all that jazz, right? And it works for me. It really does, because it's also setting up the future of this series. I think this book is not missing the mark. I love the character of Cassandra Cain. I really like it. And this story also documents how Lady Shiva met Mr. Cain, Cassandra's father. That's a very contentious relationship, and it's told explicitly well here in the pages of issue number 8 of Batgirl. Then we've got JSA issue number 8. Y'all, when Jeff Lemire first started his JSA run, which was 8 issues ago, because this is issue number 8, the first arc felt like the final arc of a 5-year JSA run. I thought that the book did no good job of introducing you to the characters, the concepts, if you were new in particular. However, now that they've made it past that first arc, as big and explosive as it was, and as detrimental it was to the legacy of the JSA, it has set up perfectly this arc 2. So in this issue, we're post-death of Wildcat, but here in this issue, we go back into the past to reveal a story that has major ramifications for the future, and I'm loving it. And part of the reason why is the artwork by Gavin Guidry. Gavin Guidry's artwork is amazing for this. He is a pitch perfect artist for Jeff Lemire's JSA run. I liked this issue. I think the book has been solidifying. I think it's getting better issue to issue. Justice League, The Atom Project, issue number 6 is the final issue. It ends in a satisfactory way, I guess, enough. It doesn't come across, now that it's all said and done, as super essential to your understanding of the DC All-In initiative, but I do love how plugged in it is to the current ongoing in-continuity story of Justice League and the DC universe. So I appreciate that. I love the focus in on Captain Atom and, of course, the Atoms. So I like that. I appreciated it. And by the end, you get a satisfying conclusion but nothing that felt like it was super connected. So if you missed out on this book, we're thinking about picking it up in trade just to stay plugged into DC All In. Maybe you want to just kind of skip it. I mean, it's all right. It's a solid, good issue, but it's not something that I think you're going to reread, if that makes sense. We got a couple of facsimiles from DC, including Superman, issue 775, Joe Kelly, Doug Mahnke, Lee Bermejo. We have a really solid issue of Action Comics here. I've talked about it on DC and the Oddies. So definitely everybody check it out if you never got a chance to check out that original book. And then we got Batman 618, the next chapter of Batman Hush. And you know me, I'm a sucker for these facsimile foil versions of DC classics. So definitely check that out. All right, let's jump over to Image. We've got The Moon is Following Us, issue number 10, the final issue of the Daniel Warren Johnson and Riley Rossmo artwork, or Riley Rossmo book. It's a very beyond satisfying conclusion to this story. It's about a couple who have lost their daughter in the world of dream. She's fallen asleep and never woken up. They find their way into the dream world, her dream world in particular, to save her. And just like every other Daniel Warren Johnson book that he writes, this book is awesome. The book is compelling, but the book is also beautifully tragic. And this issue is no exception. I don't want to spoil it, but let me just tell you that this was the ending that this story deserves and the ending that Daniel Warren Johnson wanted to tell. And it works so exceptionally well. So there you go. All right. Then we got Kaya issue number 27. I'm a little gassy from the sparkling water. Oh my goodness. It's grapefruit, everybody. Grapefruit. I bought that at Aldi. I don't know why I need to tell you that. Kaya is here with issue number 27. What can I say about Kaya that I haven't said already? How about some of the best executed storytelling in comics today? Kaya is a perennial, long-term, long-form favorite. And just like I was talking about with Justice League, The Atom Project, this is something that you'll like, but you don't necessarily ever want to revisit it. Kaya is something you want to revisit it. I compare this all the time to Jeff Smith's Bone because it's seemingly all ages and at the same time rich enough for any age group to really get a lot from this book thematically and just artistically, issue to issue, but even reread to reread. I think Kaya is an evergreen favorite that most people in this industry don't even know about. So check out Kaya. All right, then we got Scorched, issue number 41. It's an all right issue of Scorched. We finally get to a conclusion of a story thread left dangling for a few issues that we need to resolve itself. So that's what's going on here. We got a great cover with Plague Spawn. Plague Spawn is not in this book. The Spawn books are very much connected through their continuity, their shared continuity. However, the Spawn books are set, they don't overlap quite well, and I can forgive it enough for that because I think each Spawn book is trying to operate and be successful on its own. I do think that the Scorched has gotten better since John Layman's come in, but this was a solid enough issue. You get the Viscerator and her brethren, basically the siblings of the Violator. You get a lot of cool action with them here. You get those big Spawn, Todd McFarlane type moments, and you do get a resolution that we've been really wanting to happen. So now we can move forward and see. It's just the overall arcs of the Todd McFarlane Spawn universe. They do operate and move at a snail's pace. They really, really do. All right, a new one from Boom Studios. Be Not Afraid, issue number 1. I was very heavily considering this might be the pick of the week, but Imperial really worked for me, and I think it will work for most comic book fans. Be Not Afraid doesn't quite deliver enough on its concept. Because if I told you the basic concept of this book, I would spoil the entire first issue for you, but I think that they do that in the solicitation. So let me see what I can say. There is a woman who has a seemingly angelic birth, but her angelic son seems like he's pretty fucking evil, y'all. That's what's going on in the pages of Be Not Afraid. I don't want to get to the big hook of the issue. The story is there. It's very thin. The concept is there, but it's really just introducing the concept in the first issue. But the artwork is amazing. It's from Lissandro Esterin, who we know from Redneck, and a very interesting, gritty, textured style to Esterin's artwork here. I really like the artwork. I like the setup. The first issue does not deliver enough. I'm going to tell you this. So, you know what? I don't like telling people this, but here's what you do. Go to your comic shop, grab issue 1, Be Not Afraid. Say, hey, can I hold this in your box? And I'll let you know what issue number 2 is like, and if it's worth picking up issue 1 and issue number 2. Art's great. The other thing that's great is the smell. That's right. The smell of the week goes to Be Not Afraid issue number 1. It smells like unfulfilled potential and great paper. So there you go. All right, how about this from Titan Comics? We have Gun Honey, Heat Seeker, Exposed, issue number 1. I think I read the first issue of Gun Honey when it came out, quickly discounted it, never went back to it, but I keep looking at these covers. Got an Art Germ cover there. They got some nude covers. They got some sexy covers. Now, I know that some people don't like it when I get super horny on this channel. I'm not horny right now. I'm not. I'm just telling you, I like sexy people. And I like sexy people put in comics in fun situations. So I never read a single Heat Seeker book, and I think this is volume 3. I've never read Gun Honey, honestly. I maybe I read the first issue or 2 and dropped out of it. Man, this book was fun. Heat Seeker is somebody who is like basically killing people for money, but in a good way. Gun Honey's the same way. Heat Seeker is another operative, I guess, in this world. Whatever. Somebody, some vlogger, some YouTuber shows up and is trying to expose our girl, Heat Seeker. And she's trying to combat that. And it's just fun. It's honestly just a really fun book that does have a lot of sexiness, sensuality, and nudity to it. Did I mind that? Not at all. Is it pervy? Maybe a little. But is it exciting? Yes, especially if you're a pervert. Anyway, moving on. We got Mark Spears Monsters, issue number 5. Runner-up cover of the week right there for that cool Todd McFarlane homage. This issue mostly deals with Mark telling us the story of his version of the Monster Squad kids going up against the Wolfman. Do they find out he has nards? Not necessarily. They find out that the Wolfman ain't no one to be fucked around with. The art here is amazing. Mark's use of colors is amazing. There's a really weird bit about the bride getting a haircut here. It's so silly. It is so silly, but man, all this werewolf goodness really works. And we have Mark really finally diving in to the monsterness of Mark Spears Monsters. Now, you know that Mark Spears is my buddy. I'm going to say nice things about his book, but honestly, I wouldn't say such many nice things if it wasn't actually good. Mark, I love you, but not that much. Great cover, great issue, really solid stuff. Then from Mad Cave, we have Endless Night, issue number 1. I read this book, and I shouldn't have, because this is a follow-up to Exit City. I was not a fan of Exit City. I dipped out of it, and I'm reading this book, and I'm like, God damn it. This is a follow-up to Exit City. Why not call it Exit City Endless Night? Maybe they're trying to fool us. Well, don't be fooled. If you didn't like Exit City, don't read this book. However, if you did like Exit City, you need to check out Endless Night. What did I think, having not finished Exit City? I thought it was okay. It was all right. Then we got Buried Long, Long Ago, issue number 2, written by Anthony Cleveland with artwork by Alex Cormack. I am a huge fan of Alex Cormack's artwork, especially when he's working in horror. I think the artwork is substantially amazing. The story does kind of pull itself together and strengthen itself a little bit more from issue number 1, but it doesn't quite fully sell me So if Alex wasn't doing the art on this book, I would have already been out of it. But since Alex doing the artwork in this book, I'm going to keep up with it. So follow my journey here on the weekly comic book review. All right. Also from Mad Cave, we have the final issue of Pop Kill issue number 4. We got a variant cover from J. Scott Campbell. It's a naked lady and a glass of soda. I just didn't know that Jimmy Palmiotti and Dave Johnson understood me so much. This is all I want. Anyway, it was a solid enough ending. It was violent. It was brutal. It's not well written. It's an interesting concept. Two former Siamese brothers who now run rival soda companies are trying to steal a never-ending fizz formula for their soda, and there's like corporate espionage in the midst of this. There's nudity, there's excitement, there's gun violence. If you like things like Gun Honey and Heat Seeker and you haven't read Pop Kill, definitely check it out. It's not reaching too far, but because it doesn't reach too far, it doesn't fall very far, if that makes sense. So Pop Kill overall, I've enjoyed. The Slasher's Apprentice issue number 2 from Mad Cave, written by our homie Justin Richards with artwork by Val Halverson. This is the exact same creative team as Finger Guns, which we love. Justin, I love you. You did an exceptional job. I thought issue number 2 was even better than issue number 1. The basic premise of this story is there is a slasher out there, a masked slasher who likes to kill people, and Justin likes to have him kill people, I should say, in very familiar ways if you're fans of slasher films. I'm a huge fan of slasher films, so I get a lot of the kill references here, some more Silent Night, Deadly Night action going on, but it's not really necessarily a Christmas story. But the story of this is there's a slasher, there's someone who's a fan of the slasher who wants to become his apprentice. So they become his apprentice here in issue number 2, and chaos ensues. Really cool book. If you love slasher fiction, definitely check that book out. From Dark Horse Comics, we have Let This One Be a Devil, issue number 4. This is the final issue, and now that it's the final issue and I've made it all the way through, I can tell you this. Kowalski's artwork all the way through has been amazing. It's been written by James Tynion and Steve Fox. It is kind of taking true stories of the Jersey Devil and fictional stories of the Jersey Devil and tying it all together into one narrative. And now that I've read it, I can tell you it doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. I got to the end of this book and I was like, that's the fucking end? Are you serious, Tynion? Are you fucking serious? This is the end? This is it? This is the whole point of the book? Get the fuck out of here. Art's great, but the story, the ending, sucked. How about that? Then we got Plague House, issue number 3. Michael W. Conrad and Dave Chisholm. Artwork is great. It's about a team of ghost hunters. I'm confused. I don't know what the fuck this book is about. I thought it was about a team of ghost hunters going into something above their heads. I guess that is what the book is about, but it's taken some turns in the last 2 issues. I thought the first issue was incredibly solid, but issue number 2 kind of confused me. Issue number 3, I'm fucking lost, brother. Sisters, I don't give a fuck. I don't know what's going on in this book. I'm wasting my time reading it. I'm done. And what I loved about the first issue in particular was the Mignola influence on the artwork. That has been gone for a couple issues. So Plague House, not one I could recommend. So that's what I read. That's what I thought. So let's recap real quick. Plague House is not working for me. I'm dropping that book. Let This One Be a Devil, final issue sucked. Did not like it. Slasher's Apprentice gets better in issue number 2. If you're a fan of the slasher genre, definitely check that out. Pop Kill doesn't try too much. Doesn't try too hard. Therefore, it doesn't fall a lot. Pop Kill's good, fun, sexy violence in comic book form. I like sexy violence. Very long ago. Interesting. Alex Cormack's artwork is the big deal here. If he wasn't on the art, I would dip out. Then we got Endless Night. It's a sequel to Exit City. If you like that, go for it. If you didn't like Exit City or didn't read it, don't check this one out. Though it's not that bad. Mark Spears' Monsters, pretty freaking cool. We got some great werewolf moments in this issue. Heat Seeker Exposed. Good, sexy, violent fun. Y'all, I got to seek out all the previous Heat Seekers and honey out all the previous Gun Honeys and read them. Plus, they got some good covers, so expect more horniness in the future. Be Not Afraid has a lot of potential, especially with the artwork. The artwork is phenomenal. The story has a lot of potential. We'll see how they develop it in issue number 2. Scorch finally wraps up something that we needed wrapped up, and now hopefully we can move on from that. Kaya continues to be one of the best comics out there on the shelves. The Moon is Following Us, a very tragically satisfying final issue of another Daniel Warren Johnson series. Some facsimiles: Superman Action Comics 775, Batman 616, the next chapter of Hush, plus you got Angelina Jolie Tomb Raider in facsimile foil fandom? No, that makes no sense. Justice League The Atom Project, a satisfying enough conclusion, but the conclusion leads me to believe, I'll never read this one again, so it was just all right. Then we got JSA. This book is getting better and better. I love Gavin Guidry on the artwork. Batgirl continuing the secret origin of Lady Shiva in spectacular fashion. Poison Ivy continues to be one of DC's most consistent and best ongoing books. Absolute Superman, absolutely slapped. Absolute Green Lantern. Art, I'm not sold on, but the story and the concept 3 issues in, I'm giving Al Ewing some credit here. I'm engaged. I'm enthralled. I'm captivated. Then we got Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong. Chapter 2, just like the first one, big dumb fun. It's not stretching itself too far. Let's jump over to Marvel. X-Men was just kind of blah this week. Storm continues to be one of Marvel's best ongoing books. Storm is like the Poison Ivy of the Marvel Universe right now. And that is a high compliment. Red Hulk fucking slapped. That book was awesome. Benjamin Percy, Jeff Shaw, they're doing a great job there. Amazing Spider-Man, 5 issues in. Must read Marvel. But man, John Romita Jr. is about to come on. I know I'm about to hear a lot of shit about that in 2 weeks. Ultimate Wolverine was ultimately boring until the end. And now I'm like, oh, okay. Now let's see where the story goes. How about that? All right. Then we got Ghost Rider versus Galactus. Amazing artwork from Juan Ferreira, but a really tongue-in-cheek, not taking itself too seriously story that tries to deal with really heavy concepts, but not in a heavy way. Marvel Knights, the world to come, is like the Dark Knight Returns for Christopher Priest's Black Panther run. So yeah, I'm all here for that book. Then we've got Ultimate Spider-Man Incursion, issue number 1. Miles Morales crosses over into the new Ultimate Universe. And it was fun. It was great. If you're reading Miles, if you're reading Ultimate Spider-Man, I would recommend that book 100%. But the pick of the week is Imperial issue number 1. Jonathan Hickman and Federico Vincentini and Iban Coelho. 2 different artists doing 2 different styles, but the book feels very consistent artistically, and it's actually making some big moves with Cosmic Marvel and setting up some interesting thing that's not just regulated to just the Cosmic Marvel corner, but to all of the Marvel Universe. So for me, Imperial was the pick of the week. That's what I read. That's what I thought. That's what I'm digging. What are you reading? What are you thinking? What are you digging? Thank you so much for checking out the video. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and join us in the comments below to continue the conversation. If you want to help support the channel, you can do so at patreon.com/PCP or direct tips to me through my PayPal or through my Cash App to help support my trip to HeroesCon 2025. I've been rocking Robbie Billups. Thanks for rocking with us. Keep on reading, keep on loving, keep on living. Station, pop, pop, boom.